Hey YouTube, good morning. Version 10.6 dropped this morning. Posted a few release notes for those of you that wanted to see the high definition release notes on Twitter this morning. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, at Chazman, it's in the description. I got high res release notes and hash marks. Just a quick look here. 10.6 is basically where we are with these release notes. Not that you're going to really be able to see them as well as I posted them on Twitter. 2021 36.8.9. I will go into my little story here. I am on 2 out of 3 strikes. I am driving an FSDBeta assertive mode. And just a little bit of the history on the 3 strikes. The first strike was when the camera in the Model Y was starting to monitor initially, and I was not exactly sure what it was doing and how it was doing it. I wear a ball cap when the sun angle is low, and sometimes you have to lower the bill of your hat because the visor here isn't low enough, and I got a couple strikes that way. Additionally, I was playing with it on the first couple strikes, not realizing what a strikeout was, and I did get 1 strikeout. I thought, that's no big deal. Now I know how it works. Unfortunately, if you didn't know this, if you go to another profile that doesn't even have beta turned on, those strikes accumulate on the car. My wife got a strikeout not knowing what was going on. She just uses Navigator and Autopilot. She does not use FSD. And I think in the Model Y, it seems like it's a little bit more sensitive. I'm not sure. Maybe our eyes are doing something different. Maybe the eye height's different. Maybe the models are trained on the Model 3. I don't know. But in any case, we got to the point where my wife got the 2nd strikeout. And now you see it says disabled twice, 3rd time's the charm. And it's gone. So that's where we sit. So I'm going to try to be careful if during testing and talking I get any sort of pay attentions or strikeouts. Or strikes, to not click that over the 3, but obviously it is a little bit uncomfortable and there's a little bit of risk involved with testing, videoing, and talking perhaps while we're at 2 out of 3. But the mission is testing. So I'm just going to do the Memorial Park first impressions drive here on 10.6. I'll probably throw in a couple unprotected lefts later today, depending on the drive, maybe at the end of this drive. If you don't like the full-length videos to Memorial Park and back, maybe just throw it on 2 times speed. And if you hear me talking, maybe slow it down if you're interested in the conversation. That's just my recommendation. Okay, this is version 10.6. I just did the first impressions drive, but I'm going to throw in a few unprotected lefts here at the beginning of the video, because I know many of you, this is what you're most interested in. I had 1 unprotected left on the first impressions drive that was unsatisfactory. It stopped in the middle of the lane again. Okay, here we are. It needs to stop. There's a car in the middle lane and a nice gap to go now on both directions. And it's deciding to wait, I think, for the car on the right. It now needs to wait. There's a car coming from the left. Okay, now it's clear left and right. Whoa, wow, boost. There's a new boost there. Oh, a little bit of fishtailing here. Whoa, what's going on with that fishtail? Okay, it did the unprotected left with a little bit of a boost and a little bit of a planner confusion on the lanes there at the end that was definitely new. Let's try another one. All right, here's round 2. Stop line, creeping, wide open to the left. Okay, now I'm stopped in the lane. It stopped in the lane waiting on those cars from the right. Okay, I'm stopped in the road again, and it's going. Okay, so completely unsatisfactory stopping locations. I was able to let it do it that time. And it's fishtailing again. Whoa, that is new behavior. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's uncomfortable. I'm not sure how it would behave if there were cars right next to me, but that little fishtailing while it's finding its way is new. So I guess that stopping in the median hope did not come true. It's still stopping in the road, waiting on the opposing traffic to be clear. All right, number 3 here. It's probably going to be the last one I do, just because I know this video might be a little bit long. All right, stopping at the stop line, checking for visibility. Wide open to the left and wide open to the right. There's a car starting to come from the right that it might see. Okay. Hey, it stopped in the median. I don't know if that was an accident or not, but it stopped in the median at about the right spot. It didn't need to because that car was in the middle lane. Look at it, this path vector again, kind of bouncing around. This time it didn't change lanes, but it definitely was not comfortable there. Hey, so there might be something there on that median. It started to turn and then it stopped waiting on that second car, but it stopped at the right angle in the right location. Maybe there is a little bit of new behavior in here after all. Okay, I just had to do one more. After it stopped in the median on that last one, maybe it was an accident, but I don't know. I'm curious now. All right, we're creeping. It's got some traffic it needs to wait for here, which is good. It's not necessarily the same exact scenario. It needs to go a little further forward. I'm leaning way forward to see this closest lane. Okay, now I can see the closest lane pretty good, and there's some cars coming. All right, it's wide open to the left after this car right here for about 15 seconds, and it's wide open to the right. So it should just go. All right, it's being too hesitant here. Now it's going. Now there's a car it needs to wait for. Oh, but it left its butt in the lane again. Okay. It didn't use the median again, but boy, it's fishtailing again. Whoa, man, I sound like CNN this time. Golly, why is it doing that? All right, that's it for this video. I got it to stop in the median once. I don't know that that was a true test of it, but hey, unprotected lefts. It's the varsity maneuver. A lot of interactions, a lot of vehicles, a lot of lanes, a lot of light, a lot of different things to change its behavior. That's probably it for the UPLs. Here we go at my somewhat famous unprotected left turn here, but we're taking a right this time. See how we go. Stop line, stop. There we go. Creeping for visibility, checking for visibilities on the screen. Okay, it needs to wait. The right lane has a few cars coming, so we're gonna have to sit here for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. All right, 2 more cars to go. Now, interesting, this car has a blinker on, and I could go as a human knowing he's got his blinker on, but the car waited. Okay, now the right lane is clear. It looks like it's waiting perhaps on the middle and middle lanes to be clear too. Okay, now it's completely clear. Very cautiously proceeding. Okay, so it waited the right amount of time. It just, after it was clear, it didn't do any sort of pre-roll that time. I know on the previous builds, we had seen some pre-roll when it saw the gap. Didn't see it on that one. So we'll keep taking a look at it. Back on this pay attention to the road nag, just to continue the conversation on this little bit of a straightaway. I'm trying to collect as much empirical data as I can, just so I know exactly what it sees and what it doesn't. Of course, in this drive, I'm not going to do anything intentionally. I do have 3 cameras running right now, and as a habit, not necessarily that this is a good thing, I constantly pull my eyes up and down. I scan the screen for the trajectory, for the path vector. I look at cameras to make sure they're still recording with just a glance. And I look in the rearview mirror to see if the GoPro is recording, to see the flashing red. I've made enough videos that if you don't have a camera rolling and you think you do, and after a half-hour drive or so, it's pretty frustrating. But it is also that kind of glancing at things other than the road or straight ahead that are where I'm seeing these pay attention to the road warnings pop up. This screen, while it is the centerpiece of the car and all of the information about FSDBeta and navigation, if you look at this too long, even if you're scanning straight ahead, you'll get a nag. And another little, I don't want to call it a pet peeve because I'm learning to adjust to it. This little snapshot button right there on the upper right, sorry I was pointing, is so small, I frequently miss it. And if I fiddle with it long enough to try to get the second snapshot, I've gotten pay attention to the road warning there too. Okay, those of you that are familiar with this route, I take a right here, so I'm disengaging FSD to get over to the right lane. We don't have waypoints yet, so we have to kind of force it down certain routes. In any case, with regard to the visualization, I have not seen any differences yet. The only visualization changes I've noticed over the last couple builds was in 10.4, we had speed bumps being rendered with a little indication of speed bumps. I think they were just the big marked speed bumps that have the white chevrons on them. And then they disappeared in 10.5. I'm not sure if we're going to see any speed bumps on this route. I don't think there are any. But that would be an interesting revelation. Okay, FSD's re-engaged. Some pedestrians on the left. All right, and we've got a green protected arrow that just turned yellow, so it will be unprotected. There's no traffic that I can see, so it should just roll this one, and the path vector looks like it's rolling it. Little wide with a nice smooth correction. No issues there. Still no boundary here on these parking spaces as far as drivable space. The red line is all the way over to the right, and there's no projected boundary there, even though it's not drivable space. It's not using it, but it's still not marking it either. I think that's going to be an important part for parking lots when we eventually get there. Pedestrian jogger on the right, properly rendered. Turned yellow just as we were underneath it. The brakes hit after we passed it. That was not a good braking action. I'm not sure why it did that. So here we have green to go straight, which is what we're doing with a green right arrow. Turned yellow. It's going through the yellow. And it hit the brakes again in the intersection. So that's two very delayed braking actions. I'm going to hit the snapshot button once on that. After you committed to the yellow, you might as well proceed with the roll, but it tapped the brakes both times on those yellow lights. All right, decent slowdown, and let's see what the reacceleration's like. Not too bad. A little bit slow, maybe. Feels like the lane placement isn't too bad here. Kind of hugging the center. Probably could be a little bit closer to the yellow line. But I know some people have reported it's hugging the yellow line too much. I haven't noticed that. All right, here's our first flashing yellow. I'm seeing red on the screen still. And it went straight through it at 31, which I think 31's being the follow me car distance. I don't think that's its own speed. So here we are, yellow again. It is showing yellow and red on the screen. Okay, and then the reacceleration up that left turn of the follow me car. Smooth. Okay, right turn here at the green light. It looks like it's turning red for us now, so it's going to be a right on red opportunity. It's always kind of hugged the left side while it was turning right. My preference would be for it to be in the right side of this lane instead of the left, because frequently cars do try to squeeze into the right if they want to go right. All right, it should be clearing. All right, nice job there. All right, coming up on a four-way stop sign. I am in assertive mode, so it says it could roll stop signs in assertive. Let's see if it goes all the way down. It did roll that one. No cars to deal with. And we have pedestrians crossing the road it needs to honor. They have dogs, and it came to a full stop. Okay, it's recognizing the stop sign on the left that is not the right stop sign. Interesting. I don't think it needed to do that for those pedestrians, but it saw that stop sign on the left. That might be the first time it's ever stopped completely there, but there were two factors, pedestrians and a stop sign on the left. Damn it. Pretty straightforward here, not much to say. Light turned green, it proceeded without stopping, that was good. Not a whole lot of traffic interactions on this one yet, so it's going pretty smooth right now. Like I've said before, no traffic scenarios. This software is pretty good. It's dealing with traffic and people. That is the biggest issue. I have not gotten to pay attention to the road nag yet, and I'm hoping that means that the model has been improved a little bit. That would be great. Pretty straightforward. Got a low density Sunday morning traffic. Light turned yellow again, and it did not brake that time. Interesting. Okay, so we've reached our destination. I'm gonna go ahead and do a U-turn here. And it looks like my darn screen recording device continues to stop recording, and I am not sure why. Like I've said before, I continually monitor these cameras. So, I think leg one was pretty good. I don't have any major concerns there. Perhaps the slowdowns after the yellow lights were something I'm not too happy with. I didn't have any real traffic scenarios to deal with, so I think that was a pretty benign drive. But in general, I would say first impression was decent. Sorry about these camera scenarios. I am not sure why I keep losing the recordings. Hopefully this video can be put together in a reasonable way. All right, here we go. So this is leaving this intersection is a little bit of a funky angle here. It's kind of, it can get out far enough to see well. It's just, it's got to look in the right directions. Visibility is not the issue here, it's the angles. And it did that one fine. Didn't have any traffic to deal with, so that was just the lateral path to look at. It did fine. Oh, a little bit of a break there. I'm not sure why it slowed down like that. All right, we do have a, well, we'll see what happens up here. So we have a biker on the right-hand side of the road. He's got a nice flashing light with a green light here with a follow me car. So it should create a nice path around him, hopefully. Let's see what it does here. I don't have anyone right behind me, so I can kind of let it see what it's going to do. It is creating a comfortable path. It does have a truck to deal with up here. Oh, he's gonna have to go and then get right. Okay, boy, that was a very sensitive. I don't think I disengaged with much tension there. I was just holding the wheel firmly, and it was kind of going around that biker and having to navigate around the truck at the same time. Okay, I am going to take a left here. That was a last minute change, only for my route. Let it remap. Re-engage. Nice. Couple more flashing lights up here. Bikers in the left lane, no adjustment necessary. All right, and it proceeded right through that yellow just fine. All right, going through a little town section here. It should slow down a little bit. Let's see, it's got a little pedestrian crossing there, some people on the right. I didn't see the dogs rendered. Parking spots again on the right that are not being marked as drivable space, but you did definitely see the cars. Got a pedestrian in the crosswalk up ahead. Definitely is using the brakes for that one, so it slowed down ahead of time. That was fine. It didn't have any problems there. No traffic interactions other than that one pedestrian. Another pedestrian on the sidewalk over here with a dog. No dog rendered. All right, here's the S curve. It's used blinkers on a couple of these curves in the past. Slowing down there. I don't know if that was because of the car or the curve. No blinkers so far. Hey, that's nice. I think every single time it's used a blinker on that curve on one of them. So that's good. That's an improvement. One more curve here to the right, and then kind of a very confusing map data intersection to come up. Okay, so it slammed on the brakes for that car that was in his lane appropriately. If there had been a car right behind me, that would have been an unusual braking situation. It did not need to go from 30 to 16. All right, I've got a red light at a very large, confusing intersection with lots of dotted lines, but it looks like it stopped at the appropriate spot. So that was interesting. So that car coming around that curve behind me, it perceived as forward collision. Okay, green, let's see how we go. Got a jogger over here kind of using the street, shown as a pedestrian. Okay, here it's got to get over to the right immediately, and it's doing that just fine. No problem there. So that's an interesting scenario to talk through and think through, how a car in its appropriate lane, when it's looking like an odd angle, why it hit the brakes so hard. A little bit of an unexpected braking there. I'm not sure what it's seeing, but it's right there. It's hitting the brakes again. Maybe for those cones that time. Shadows? I don't know. There's a lot of shadows on this street. Bam, it's hitting the brakes again. Wow. Okay, and now here it's got to go around some tree debris. Obviously it's marked with cones. It's going around it just fine. It's not rendering the tree debris, only the cones. And now we go into an unprotected left. We've done this one a few times. It has not usually been very good with any traffic. It does need to wait. It does need to wait. Okay, it's going way out there though. Okay, I am not in the road yet, but I'm as far as I'm comfortable. Okay, it needs to wait. Okay, now I feel like I'm in the road. And there's its gap, and it is, okay, it is, what's it gonna do here? Okay, it stopped in the road, and I'm going into the median. So, in the A plus B equals C maneuver of an unprotected left using a median, it stopped in the road again with oncoming traffic. So that was unsuccessful, and that was the first test of the unprotected left release note that talked about having, I can't quote it off the top of my head. I highlighted it on Twitter, but there was a release note about improved positioning after the cross-track error, or the cross-tracking traffic. Interesting. So it's that unprotected left felt the same as version 10.5, where if it could cross the first part, it would, thinking the second part was open, but if the second part became closed, it just kind of stopped in the lane versus getting at an angle in the median. Okay, here we are at a nice big 6-lane 4-way intersection. There's probably not a whole lot to look at, but I tell you what, the jitter in those lines has gone down a lot in the last few versions. They're pretty solid right here. It's jittering a little bit, but they were jittering a lot more than that on previous releases. Even mapping some full lane paths for the other oncoming traffic and turn lanes. That's pretty good. Got a green arrow to the right that I do not see showing on the display. Went yellow, so that's not being rendered. Big bus over there to the right, city bus, being not mapped as a bus, it's mapped as a truck. And here we go. The predicted path was pretty stable on that. Sometimes going through those intersections, I've always been very cautious because it's jittered to turn into the intersection. So here's another intersection where I would normally be very careful because that trajectory is always jumped over a little bit, and here it's not jumping at all. Now it is doing a slowdown there that I can't explain why, other than the curve or the turn perhaps. All right, we're coming up on the end of this second leg, and once again, I have not had any pay attention to the road nags. I think they've changed the model. It was so sensitive on 10.5 for me. I hope others are reporting the same thing. A little bit frustrating, you know, when you're paying attention to the road and the system say you're not, based on sun angle or if I'm wearing a hat that day or sunglasses. Listen, I can't change the way I drive too much. With regards to the way I use hats or sunglasses. Okay, unprotected, it's going to be unprotected, so we do have a car in the opposing traffic. It is clear if it wants to roll it, but I would have to look through that car to realize that, and it went for it. Very nice. Okay, so that is the end of leg 2 of the first impressions drive. What do I think? I think, first of all, what I was most worried about was the pay attention to the road nags have changed. I didn't get one. I was fiddling with cameras a little bit. I was trying to make sure they were glances. I never got dinged on it. Previously, I was getting nags for little things like touching the screen or looking down, and didn't get one that time. A couple of slowdowns that were unexpected. That would probably be the biggest ding on this release so far, were the slowdowns underneath the yellow lights, and that one aggressive slowdown from 30 miles an hour down to 16 during that S curve with a car that was in its appropriate lane but was coming around the corner. Other than that, I think it was pretty good. One unprotected left that did not go well. I've kind of stopped critiquing unprotected lefts just because I don't know what to expect. So I'm probably going to do a couple of unprotecteds. I might throw them at the beginning of the video just for those of you that like to take a look at them. Anyway, that's 10.6. Let me know in the comments below. Have a great day.